Hello everybody, welcome to Mother's Kitchen. Today we are making English muffins prepared two different ways. I'll let it be a surprise as to how those are going to turn out later, but first we need to start with making coffee. Well, I take my coffee very seriously, so today we are drinking decaf Peet's coffee. What you do is you lift up the Keurig lid, pop it in there, close it, and you press the button. As you can maybe tell from the steam, it's hot. All right, and now that we have our coffee, we can begin making our English muffins. To start, we are going to be using 2% reduced fat milk. We are going to be measuring out 1.5 cups right there. All right, we're gonna pour our milk in. And it is important to note that you do not want this on a high temperature. So while our milk is doing its thing, it should probably take roughly 10 minutes or so. Keep an eye on it though. We will put our dry ingredients together. So we have bread flour here. We're gonna wanna do 3 cups. All right. You've got 3 cups of flour in there. Next we have our Morton salt. We will be using only 1 teaspoon. One of those guys in there and you're good to go. And that is, for the moment, all you need to do with this. You can whisk your salt in there, but you're just gonna set it aside. We're starting to have a little steam action going on. It's not quite there yet. What we are looking for is a nice little layer of film it's gonna look like on the top. When you shake it, it's gonna look like little wrinkles on the surface. So until then, just keep an eye on it. Let it do its thing. It's happy down there, you know, it's warming up. It's getting all cozy. Give it a gentle stir, you know, so you can see the rippling effect on the surface while it's getting all warm. So we have been cooking our milk here for a minute, and as you can see, if I blow on it, there's definitely that film going on the surface there. So we're going to cut the heat off and take it back over to our workstation to continue making our dough. I didn't really quite say the term, but this is called scalding milk, just so you know. What we're going to do is add this to our yeast to get it start working a little bit, but we cannot do that while this is hot or it's just gonna kill the yeast. So what we're going to do is make a little ice bath and kind of work with the milk in there. You can use a whisk or a spoon or whatever you'd like, but just make sure before you add anything to this milk mixture that it's nice and cool. I guess I can prepare my other things that are gonna go in the milk here. We are going to need 2 tablespoons of our butter. So you can go ahead and drop your butter in the milk. And next, we are going to be putting 2 tablespoons of honey in our milk mixture. Boom. Now while the milk is still not entirely cooled down, give it a little whisk. You're gonna wanna get that butter nice and melted in there. Okay, so our mixture here is nicely combined. So we are going to, in our nice Barbie bowl, it's very important, take our yeast, 1 teaspoon of active dry yeast. That ought to do it. And secondly, 1 teaspoon of sugar. Also, this is not a very sweet dough. The sugar just kind of helps dissolve the yeast and gives it something to eat, you know? So after that, take your teaspoon measure, that's fine. And you're gonna wanna drop, I'll say, a nice 4 or 5 of these little guys into your mixture here. Stir that around, get everybody knowing each other. And once it's nicely mixed around, you're gonna wanna let it sit for about 5 minutes and get that yeast waking up, you know, and get them moving. So we've been waiting here for about 5 minutes, and at this point I would call our yeast activated. So I would recommend probably putting in your milk mixture first and then do your yeast. So just get this in here. Perfect. Now we're going to lower this. Start it on a nice slow speed. You don't want to have everything go flying everywhere. So as it goes for maybe a couple seconds, you're gonna take your yeast here, just drizzle it in nice and slowly with everybody. Oh yeah. Now you can stop here if you want. Just monitor how it's going. Scrape down the sides of the bowl a little bit. And once it looks like it's going better, you can up the speed a little bit. And now you're gonna wanna let it go for maybe 8 to 10 minutes or so, and we'll come back and check on it in a few. Okay, so it's been about 8 minutes, and you're gonna wanna unlock it here. Open her up. Get your dough hook off there. Scrape it down. Just move fast, you know. It'll be sticky a little bit, but that's okay. Now, this part's very important. You are going to want to generously oil your bowl. The taste of sesame oil, I find, is so good for English muffins. So, generously coat your bowl. And once that's done, you can take your dough here. And then you're going to want to cover this and let it rest for about 2 hours. And now we wait. Okay, so as I said at the beginning, we are going to be making Eggs Benedict 2 different ways. The first of which is going to be an avocado spread. The second of which is going to be onion and prosciutto. So, we'll start with avocado. I like to mash it up, make almost like a guacamole. Therefore, it's much easier to put some seasonings in it. It's much easier to spread. All the things, you know, it's just better. I have here Mrs. Dash's and garlic herb. Any sort of herb will work, but make sure it's got garlic in it. Sprinkle that in there. It's delicious. You'll find that I'll probably use this on like everything. I got some onion powder here. Generously put salt in here. And you're going to want to oil it. And now you get mashing and mixing. That oil is going to really help just soften it up and make it a very nice texture for you. You'll see that I don't have to even do this very long. I'm just putting some pepper on top here. I think it just evens out the salt a little bit. Yeah, I think we're right about where I like that. So you can just take this, set it aside, and wait for presentation. All right, so I'm gonna be honest with you guys, never made hollandaise sauce, but we're going to be making some hollandaise sauce here today. So you're gonna just wanna put the yolks in here. You don't want any egg whites. So yellow stuff, you know, if you wanna do it and be dangerous, you can even put the egg in your hand, you know. Sift it out a little bit. We got our second egg yolk here. Drop her in. So we have our 2 yolks in here. We are going to be using today some Belgian ale mustard. It says here that it is a cream ale, and you know, the word cream sold me on it. I was like, all right, we're gonna use that one. I think about half of this jar seems appropriate. All right, we have half a lemon here. Gonna wanna squeeze every single thing it's got into this. There we go. Just to get everybody knowing each other. At this point, we could have done this before, doesn't really matter. We're just gonna put a little paprika in here. While this is blending, we're going to slowly stream in our butter. Now, it is important that we do it slowly because we do not want to cook the eggs and scramble them. We want to do it nice and slow. nice. Okay, so we're going to take our sesame oil again. We're going to take our cutout doughs with the cornmeal side down, place them in the pan, and then we are going to want to turn it on. Now this process of cooking, it happens fairly quickly. I want to say around 10 minutes or so. Give it a good 5 or 6 on the first side. You want to lift up the bottom, see it's browning nicely. Once it's browned nicely, give it a good flip to let it finish cooking through, and they should be good. All right, we have a very nice brown color on the bottom, so we're going to do our first flip. Perfect. Now, since we did this from the very start at no temperature, and we heated up the bottom to get it crisp, we don't want to burn them now, so we're going to turn it down, rock them nice and low, and we're just going to let them finish cooking through. We're going to flip them back over a final time. As you can see, we've got a very nice color on these guys, and they've also risen. All right, we are going to take these guys off of our heat. They're definitely going to look a little bit like pancakes, very, very thick pancakes. We have onions here, nice and like finger length slices. We're going to go into the same pan. No need to clean it. Sesame oil is a great flavor anyway. Again, you're going to want to keep this on a pretty low temperature. You don't want to crisp them up too quickly. I'm going to add a little bit more oil here. Our idea is to caramelize these slightly. So while these are going, we're going to start getting our water warm, and we're going to be poaching our eggs in it. Everybody always says, you know, you should use a big pot, you know, do the whole whirlpool method, everything like that. I say BS. You use a very small pan, shallow water. If the yolk sits on top, totally fine. Don't even worry about it. It's going to turn out spectacular. All right, we're going to break these English muffins open here. They're not store-bought, so they're not pre-sliced, obviously. We have to fork it all the way around the outside. Once you've got it all the way around, you'll see that puncturing it is pretty easy. And we're going to break it open here. And what you will get is a very delicious muffin-like consistency. Nooks and crannies everywhere. Gorgeous. And once again, nice pull-apart English muffin. So just like you would any old store-bought English muffin, just because we made them fresh does not mean we don't have to toast them. We're definitely going to toast them. Let them do their thing for a minute, and we're gonna get back over here to the poached eggs and finish them up. All right, it's time to start with the eggs. If you'll notice here, there is not a rolling boil, it's just very slightly bubbling. We do not want a very hot water. It's scary, you know. This is my first take, and I haven't cracked one yet, so. Look at that. 4 out of 4, we're good to go. Don't even touch them, just let them sit for a little bit. They're gonna do their thing. It's probably gonna be a pretty quick process. I wanna say 5 or 6 minutes on these eggs. While the eggs are doing their thing, we're gonna go ahead and get the prosciutto cooking in this pan with the onions. We're rocking and rolling at good speed. Bubbles starting to come and pop up around the outside of the eggs. That's exactly what you want. All right, as you can see, we've taken our muffins out of the twister. They've got a little bit of browning on the top. We are going to take here the avocado spread that we made earlier. Generously portion it on 1/2. Next, I have our prosciutto and onions that I've been cooking on the stovetop. All right, lastly, I have my poached eggs here. They've been going for about 5 or 6 minutes. Place one ever so gently on each muffin. As you can see on this one, like I said earlier, it's quite all right if you see the yolk stick through. Stay up there, mister. Lastly, we're gonna put our hollandaise sauce on top, and we will have a finished product. All right, my friends, and last but not least, we are going to take our hollandaise sauce that we made, which is perfectly smooth. Give it a nice drizzle over our eggs. Well, I suppose now that we are done, we are going to put a little bit of paprika on it for show. Lastly, some pepper. So now it is time to tuck in. We're nice and running in there. Oh, it's beautiful. So saucy. I cannot express to you how good it is. You get that nice crunchiness from those homemade English muffins. The bottom is so brown and crisp. Honestly, depends on what side I wake up on the bed, but I love avocado. I'm gonna have to go for that. The avocado one just has such like a saucy, messy feel to it. It melts in your mouth. Oh yeah. I'm gonna eat every single one of this. Every one. Every bit. It's gone. Well guys, thanks for watching. I'm gonna go take this off camera and completely devour it like a monster. I got nothing else for you. That's perfect.